Stop my. Good evening, Robert. I'm good, thanks. Why is my video not working?
Good evening, Duncan. Eugene, yeah.
Good evening, Eugene. If everybody could just say your name and just announce where you're calling from. You can unmute yourself just on the bottom of your screen. You can see the video and the microphone. If you want to unmute yourself to say hello and just let everybody know where you're calling from.
Hi, Duncan. It's Colin Simmons.
Hi, Colin. Good to have you on the call. Hi, Robert.
Hi, mate. I'm actually travelling at the minute, mate, so I won't be able to talk too much.
That's okay.
Okay.
Don't know why my video is not working, but anyway. Good evening, everybody. If you want to announce your name as you come on the call and just let everybody know where you're calling from.
Hi, everyone. It's Darlene in
Good evening, Darlene. How are you?
I'm doing great. All
Good.
excited. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. If you'd just like to announce your name and where you're calling from, and we should be starting in about a minute's time.
Hi, Duncan. It's Mel from Taunton.
Good evening, Mel. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Anybody else just want to announce their name and let us know where you're calling from just before we start the call?
Hi, it's Martin from the UK.
Hi, Martin. Whereabouts in the UK are you calling from, Martin?
I'm from West Yorkshire.
Okay, good. Good to have you on the call.
Thank you.
Hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Philip Nathinge from Namibia.
Oh, good to have you on the call.
Yes.
Okay, we'll just give it another 30 seconds and then we should be starting.
This is Paul from London, UK.
Hi, Paul. Good to have you on the call.
Thanks very much. And I'm waiting for somebody else called Teresa to get on the call as well.
Okay. We'll just hang on another few seconds and then we should start. It will be recorded, so if anybody is late, I hope everybody on the call has watched the 8-minute video. That's the main thing. If you could ask everybody before they come on this call to watch that 8-minute video. Good evening, everybody. If you'd like to announce your name and where you're calling from, you can unmute yourself with the microphone. If you hold your cursor at the bottom of the screen, you can see the microphone on the left-hand side.
Good evening, Duncan.
Hi, Bernard.
From Botswana, yes.
Good to have you on the call. Welcome.
Good evening, Janet here from Florida.
Hi, Janet. Good to have you on the call.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to mute everybody just so we cut out any background noise. So just bear with me a second. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody. Let me just share my screen before we start, and I'm going to just do a short presentation. Drop this. If somebody could just unmute themselves and tell me, sorry? Good, good, good. I'm just going to record it. And if you could just tell me, can you see that slide okay? Great. Okay, good evening, everybody. My name's Duncan Wood. I'm calling from North Wales. And my background, just a brief background about myself. I used to be a builder many years ago. Unfortunately, the banks, when at the one time when I needed them, let me down. A company went bust on me, owed me 250,000. And what did the banks do? They reduced my overdraft by 3/4. That was the first time in my life I got involved in multi-level marketing. I was very skeptical, but I did find and look into it in great detail and actually got involved with mainly telecoms companies at that time. That led me to the internet, and I've been making a full-time living online for the last 10, 15 years, too many years to mention. I've had some fantastic successes, but I've also had lots of bad apples. And this last year was actually the hardest year I've had since I went bankrupt back in the 80s. It was due to a number of things, companies letting me down, letting a lot of people down, badly managed companies, companies overstating, under-delivering the normal things that you get. And I got into quite a serious cash flow problem. And my friend John Van Dersen messaged me one day and sent me the 8-minute video. I did watch it, but I shouldn't have watched it that day because I wasn't in the best places, and didn't do anything about it. But a week later, he messaged me again to tell me he'd been in this business for 16 days and he'd received in the bank 56,000. Well, I don't know about you. I had to call him. I was skeptical. I have been involved in a similar crowdfunding system in the past where I didn't make any money or receive any money. So I wanted to know what was unique about this system. I wanted to understand it. I wanted to understand the longevity of it, the fact that it was totally legal, and everything about it. I came off that call that night. I paid my $29 to the company, and I donated $125 to John, and I dropped underneath a gentleman called Joe, and I sent him $125. I went and had my tea, and about an hour later, the phone rang, and it was Joe to introduce himself and thank me for sending him a donation. I got talking to Joe. We had a great conversation. He told me a bit about himself. He was actually the guy that introduced John to this business, and he'd been in the business exactly the same time, 16 days, and he'd earned about 42,000. Well, I went to bed, did nothing, hadn't spoken to anybody, hadn't introduced anybody, and I woke up the next morning and $250 was in my bank account. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never been in a business. Sorry. Sorry about that. I've never been in a business where I'd woken up the next morning, not done anything, and broken even. So I got to work, started mentioning it to a few people, and all I can say, this was one of the most amazing systems I've ever seen. It completely turned around my cash flow problem immediately within days, and the amount of success people having is quite incredible. So we're going to have a short introduction. I'm going to go over the 50/50 overview. Hopefully, as I said, most of you will have watched, or hopefully all of you will have watched the 8-minute video. And then we're going to have a questions and answers and a few testimonials. So first thing is, what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding has been going for thousands of years in different forms, different formats. It's basically a system to raise money for whatever project or cause. It's a large number of people basically grouping together and helping each other. And because of the internet, crowdfunding now is absolutely booming. I'll give you some statistics in a minute, but it's also due to what's been going on in the banking system. We all know about the banking crisis in the last few years. The banks have created the problem, and they're failing, and they're no longer lending, and nobody trusts them anymore. So people being people have found a different way, like they always do, and this is the solution if you're looking for one. So what is crowdfunding? There's loads of companies appearing all over the world on the internet now. These are just a few of the companies: Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo. All these companies are systems to allow people to generate funds for whatever they have, and if you add them all together, there's millions of dollars going through these companies in donations, but they're peer-to-peer basically. So is crowdfunding big? Well, according to Wikipedia, over $34 billion has been donated to this industry of crowdfunding in the last 3 years alone, and this industry is still growing extremely fast. Just to give you another example, it's growing around about 136% a year. Now, just think about that. Do you know any other industry that is growing like in that kind of capacity right now? It's absolutely amazing, and there's a reason for it. And it's, as I said, it's the banking system. People are being let down. The banks are holding up countries, businesses, and individuals. So who else crowdfunds? Well, here's some of the big names. PayPal, as an example, the world's largest payment provider, are now allowing people to use PayPal as a platform to raise funds for any purpose. Go and have a look at it, and you can find out and do your own due diligence. So what about social media? Well, everybody's heard of Facebook, and Facebook now, and for these companies to do this, a company like Facebook to change their algorithm and their software for the millions of people using them, this costs millions and millions to do. So it's a major transformation that's happening, not just with one company, but quite a few companies are now jumping in to take advantage. So, as I said, in Facebook, you can now add a button up to your Facebook page, which allows anybody in the world to donate to you for whatever purpose and whatever reason you have. So, can anyone crowdfund? Yes, they can. Anybody can. Here's an example of somebody who was broke for Christmas, which just wanted to raise some money for his family, and he earned or received £2,000 worth in literally a few hours. So who's behind this? This is the key question I wanted to know. Who's behind the company? Whoever that is, if you could please mute yourself if you've got noise in the background. So David T. Rosen is a Canadian entrepreneur. David is widely regarded as an expert in the crowdfunding arena. He has actually founded a similar business, which is still running to this day. That was founded in 2002. And that program has over 670,000 members and has generated nearly $1 billion in revenue between its members. So why this company? Why 50/50? Well, imagine if you had got involved with any of these companies you can see on the screen a few years ago. Now, most of these companies have all sprung up round about our lifetime and have become some of the biggest companies on the planet today. So ask yourself, if you'd got involved in any of these companies, how wealthy would you be today? So timing is everything. And imagine if you were offered a way into such a company today. Well, that's what's literally fallen into your lap. Now, whether you do anything about it or not, that really is up to you. But my advice is get seriously involved. Because 50/50 was launched in October 2018, so it's literally just over. It's not even 2 months old yet. You're in at the very beginning of it. They're estimated, or the owner estimates, that this is going to be 10 times bigger than the previous company. So it couldn't be a better time to get started than now. So 50/50 is the world's first crowdfunding system that allows you to receive half of everything that happens in your donation centers forever. And it's based on the world famous Mobius loop. That is a brilliant system that literally allows any people that you personally introduce to follow you right through the system for life. It uses the System G technology, which is one of the most successful 2x2 following me donation centers in history. Once you understand that part of it, a light bulb should go on. So 50/50 is a team crowdfunding system. As it said, is a team of people helping each other, and it provides help from not just you, from above, and from people you introduce and anybody they introduce. You can also receive donations literally seconds after registering. A lot of people get into break even or even into profit without even actually doing anything. Now, so 50/50 is a peer-to-peer, a person-to-person team crowdfunding system. And this is the key point for me, which means there's no middlemen, there's no bank or payment processor in between us. You're not relying on a company to look after your funds that you have donated to them or anything, or invested in them. It is literally one person to person transferring a transaction directly to your bank. So 50/50 provides you with an easy to navigate totally automated dashboard that displays everything in real time and allows you to monitor your donations second by second. So there's 3 simple steps you need to get started. The first thing is you need to make a decision. Second thing is pay $29 to the company. That is the only money that you pay to the company, and that is for your license fee. And it's actually a 6-month license fee. And then you need to become an active donor. So what does that mean? You basically, as the name suggests, 50%. So 50% goes to your sponsor and 50% goes to a person you drop in the matrix. And there are 6 positions in that matrix. And once you've done that, all you really need to do is to find 2 people that want to receive donations just like you did, and they need to become active donors just like you did. Once you've done that, if you help those two find two each, that is it. That is basically as difficult as this business gets. And once you've done that, that is the system right the way through the different donation centres. And there are actually 5 donation centres. The first one where everybody starts is the, sorry, let me just go back a bit. The first one is the 250 donation centre, where you get 6 donations of 50%, so 125, so a totaling of 1,500. Sorry, there's the first one. That confused me a bit there. So the first one is the 250 level. You receive 6 donations of 125, so you'd receive a total of 750 once those positions are filled and each person has donated. Just to give you an example again, remember that is not 6 people yourself. That could be somebody dropping in from above. It could be you introduce somebody else and they introduce somebody else. Once you've filled that matrix, you can do it again and again, and you can at any point upgrade to the 500 level. At that position again, there's 6 positions in each donation center, and each one of the 500 is $250, so a total of 1,500. Now, you can run the 250 and the 500 together. You can't jump straight into the 500. You always have to start with the 250. You could, if you wanted to, have the 250 and the 500. And then if you at any point want to upgrade again, you can upgrade to level 3, which is $1,000. You receive a total of 6 donations of 500 at this position. And again, you would still be carrying on with the 500 and the 250 donation center. And then there's the level 4, $2,000. At this position, there's 6 donations at 1,000 each. So that's a total of 6,000. Plus, obviously, you'd be running your 1,000 level, your 500 and your 250. And then the top one is the 4,000, which gives you 6 donations of 2,000, totaling 12,000. Now, that is the 5 levels. The one thing I can tell you is when I first saw this, I thought, oh, here we go. You outlay 250 and then you're going to be outlaying another 500 to get to the next level. That is definitely not the case. You can start this business with $250 and that is all you'll ever be out of pocket. You can literally, this is a self-funding business, and it literally provides you with donations to allow you to not only achieve the other levels, but to go right through the plan. And those donations you receive can become are constantly coming in. It's just a case of, to qualify, you just need 2 people. So let's just go through the system again. There's you. You introduce your first person. That person that you introduced donates $125 to you and $125 to your sponsor. Now, if you work with that, you introduce your second person. Again, that second person sends you a donation of $125. And if you now help your first person introduce their first person, they would receive $125 and you would receive $125. And that happens again with their second person. $125 goes to them and $125 comes to you. And that just carries on. $125 again, if that second person introduced their first person, he gets $125 or she, and you get $125. And that just carries on until you've received the maximum you can receive in one cycle, they call it, from your 250 level. So you'd have received a total of 750 minus your 250, so you are 500 up. Now you could stop then and you have maybe achieved your goal, or you can do it again and again and again. It literally is up to you. Obviously you can then, if you wanted to, upgrade to the next level and you'd be running your 250 donation center and your 500, and again you could upgrade to the other level beyond that. So we're going to, I'm just going to wrap up in a finish this in a second. So if you've got any questions, obviously get back to the person who invited you on this call, but we're going to have a questions and answers session in a second. Let me just end this. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, Now, there are a few questions generally that come up every time with most people, so I'm going to run through a few of them. When I first spoke to the first person I spoke to, he said to me, "Oh, this is illegal." Now, I knew it wasn't, but he created doubt in my mind, so I decided to do my own due diligence. I phoned up a solicitor friend of mine and I asked him a question. I said, "Steve, I think I know the answer to this." Well, I do know the answer, but I'd just like to hear it from you. And I asked him, could you tell me about crowdfunding? And he said, first thing he said was, "I need to know, first of all, what type of crowdfunding it is." He obviously knew a little bit about it, but he did want to brush up on it. So he came back a few days later with the results. My friend was wrong. I was totally right. It is totally legal in every country in the world, including the matrix system. If anybody has any doubt about that, that is totally legal in every country in the world. One thing I've learned is don't listen to what especially your friends tell you. Often they are giving you an opinion of something they know nothing about. So it is a totally legal system. One of the other questions people ask is it sustainable? Well, nothing lasts forever, but just go on the previous company that's been running for 16 years and still running to this date. The owner reckons that this is going to be 10 times bigger than the previous company. So put it this way, in 16 years' time, if this is still going, I don't know how much you want to earn or receive, but there's plenty there for everybody. And there's, we are literally right in at the beginning. When I first started, which was literally 35 days ago, there was only 500 people in the whole company. Worldwide. Now there's over 8,000. So now is the right time to get involved. Now, if you take the previous company, which has been going 16 years, they're currently on 670,000 members. Well, we've still got a long way to go yet. I foresee that there's going to be millions of people taking advantage of this system, especially with what's coming in the banking world. If anybody thinks that the banking crisis was bad last time, wait till you see what will happen in the next 2 or 3 years with the banking system, because it's not going to survive. It really isn't. If there's anybody that wants to unmute themselves, or if you put your hand up, I can see who's put their hand up. If anybody wants to ask a question, just unmute yourself and fire away if anybody has a question they would like to ask, or a question that they have got asked from somebody else. Anybody going to fire away? You can unmute yourself if you want, or you can put your hand up. You can go to the chat room and put in a question there. The chat is on the bottom of the screen. Just hold your cursor to the bottom and you'll see all the different controls there.
I think Tony has a question.
Hello?
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Duncan. You said that when you get to the 6th level, it's up to you whether you do it again or not, but I thought it automatically started again.
Well, it does, Tony, but you have a choice then, because what it's telling you is you need to donate again. So if you don't want to carry it on, you don't have to donate. You would just stop.
So donate another 250.
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
All right. So that was nowhere to be seen in any of the introductions or anything so far.
It's automatic, Tony.
Not, unfortunately.
It's automatic. So you'll see it as soon as you've completed.
It's automatic when you pay your money.
Sorry?
It's automatic when you pay your money.
Well, you don't pay any money, Tony. You're not paying anybody. You're donating, remember.
Well, you're donating then. Okay. So can you fund that out of your earnings?
Of course you can. Absolutely. Listen, okay. That's what I said. This is completely self-funded.
Yeah, I'm finished now. Okay, let somebody else get on.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Anybody else want a question? Unmute yourself if you want to. One of the other questions people ask, do you have to get 2 people? You don't have to, but let me explain. I've had some people who have joined and not introduced anybody, and they've received donations like I did, and actually 75% of the people will receive a donation or possibly 2 or more. Now, your upline could fill your matrix without you doing anything. Now, you can only do that once. So you would receive $750 in total if you'd done absolutely nothing. But you do have to introduce somebody, 2 people, to carry that on. But that is 2 people right the way up the 5 levels. So it is literally 2 people.
Duncan, there is a question in the chat box.
Yes, I can see it now. 1 second. From Believe. Do you have to do all levels all at the same time, or can we run with each level? Well, you can obviously start with 1 level at a time. That's what I did. But what you need to be aware of is if you introduce somebody who decides to upgrade before you. Now, you need to understand this. If they upgrade before you do, you will miss out on that 1 donation until you upgrade. Remember, if you introduce somebody yourself, those people are tied to you for life. So yes, you would miss out on the 250 donation, but you would still receiving the 250 on the 500 level, but you'd still be receiving the 125 from the 250 level. But my advice is keep ahead of your team, or if you hear anybody you've introduced is about to upgrade before them. The one thing I've noticed is every time I've upgraded, it seems like you're putting the money that you've just received back in. And yes, you are putting some of it back in, but you get it back almost as quickly as you donate it. So when I upgraded to the 500 level, literally the same day, I received 2 donations of 250. There's my money back, and everything after that is profit. Now, talking about profit, on your screen, you will see the amount you have received, and you can also work out the amount you've donated. Now, I've only out of pocket $250, but I can tell you I've actually donated back into the system $12,000. So if you want to work out your profit, you know, the saying with a company, turnover is vanity, profit sanity. All you have to do is minus what you've donated from what you've received. The remainder is profit. And believe you me, the amount of profit is amazing. Can companies or other societies doing funding, i.e. non-profit associations, register with 50/50, or is it only individual? Yes, I'm almost certain, Tom, you can register as a company, but I will check that out. I'm almost certain you can, because I actually have registered my company, or put it this way, I have the choice whether to put those donations through my company or through my personal account. It really is up to each individual. But yes, I'm almost certain I'm right in saying that. That's from Tom.
Duncan?
Yes. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Duncan. It's Paul from London.
Hi,
Duncan,
Paul.
You're obviously English, and there's quite a lot of English people and Irish people on this stream. Why is everything in dollars, and why hasn't it been converted yet to pounds?
Well, you can actually convert it to pounds, Paul. So as an example, in my back office, I give 2 options with regards to bank wire. As an example, I've put UK bank wire. So I just put my account number and my sort code. So people in the UK can pay me in sterling, or donate, should I say. Okay. Now, obviously you've got to remember, you don't know who is going to be sending you a donation. I'm getting donations from all over the world. So you have to allow for international bank wire as well. So it depends on who's sending you the donation as to whether it's in dollars or sterling. But put it this way, in PayPal, it's very easy. In bank wire, it's very easy to do an international bank wire these days. So it really is up to you, Paul, as to what you put in your back office as to what you want to receive. Does that help?
That's great, Duncan. That's awesome. Also, would you accept Bitcoin as a payment? Or is it
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can not only put Bitcoin, you can put alternative coins as well. I mean, all you've got to do is put the wallet address in, and yes, I received donations. In fact, I've just received a donation today of 125 in Bitcoin. Absolutely. Yes. That's the beauty about it, Paul. I mean, you've got to remember, some people won't have Bitcoin or might not have even heard of Bitcoin. So you do have to give other options to make it easy for them. The more options you give them, the easier it is. Lillian, did you want to ask a question? Nope.
Continuing on the lines, Duncan. Obviously,
Yes, Paul?
you talked about 6 positions, and they
No,
can be
there's
filled.
there's five levels.
5 levels. Yeah, sorry, levels.
Yes.
Yeah. No, levels. Not the levels as in the 250, 500,000. Not those levels.
Okay,
but the
sorry.
positions below you.
Oh yes, okay.
The kind of matrix, the two by matrix.
Yes.
Binary
Okay.
matrix.
Yes.
Can those positions
be
filled by yourself or not?
Yes, they can. Absolutely.
I mean, can you purchase those positions? That's what I'm asking.
Well, Paul, what you're saying there is, can you introduce your partner or spouse? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying, can you have more than one position?
Yeah, can you have more than one position? Because obviously, if I introduce my partner, she's donating 250, and then I get the 125, and my sponsor gets the 120.
I understand where
I completely understand that, but can I not purchase position 1 myself by donating that?
You certainly can. You can, Paul. But let me give you some advice. If you have a listen to the training or the interview with David Rossen, he actually advises against it. Now, I'll tell you why. Because you're going to have to run. Let's say if you introduce your partner, your wife, or somebody introduces a husband, it doesn't matter. They have got to be active, remember. So you're going to have to run their business as well as your own. Now, personally, I would stick with one, like the owner says. I actually thought about this. I thought of registering my wife, but then remember, you have to have 2 other people in each position. Yeah, better to build one and build that well rather than 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. The good thing about this, though, Paul, because in previous companies, and this is one of the things I wanted to know, people fiddle. They'll find every loophole they can, and they'll do it so that they benefit and you don't. So you introduce somebody and they introduce their dog, their cat, their budgie, and the reason why they do that is so you or they receive all the commissions in that type of business. In this, nobody can fiddle it. Nobody can. In fact, I don't know whether you know, but if somebody doesn't donate, they can't actually, until they've donated, put in their bank details to receive. So if as an example, they haven't donated, nobody can send them a donation. And after a day or 2, that person will be suspended. And they're taken out of the system. The person's name in the matrix or the position in that matrix stays there because it is a complicated process of having to remove them because how it affects everybody else behind that. So they leave them there, but it doesn't really make any difference to you other than the fact that one position in that matrix of 6 you will not receive a donation from. But let me give you an example. If somebody dropped below that suspended person, those donations would jump over that suspended person to you or the person above. So it really doesn't make any difference. And once that matrix is filled anyway, it's finished and gone, and you start a new one. That's it. Brilliant. As soon as I heard that, I thought, fantastic. Nobody can fiddle it. Nobody can manipulate it. Unfortunately, you've got to be, well, the good thing about it is you've got to be honest and commit to donating. That's what you're agreeing to. And if you don't, you're out. Somebody here, NJ, there are many people on the Facebook group who have started but had not any donations yet. And some have been in for 4 weeks only. Okay, let me give you some advice, NJ. Anybody that comes into any business expecting to sit back and do nothing shouldn't be involved in any system or business, really, to be honest. I wouldn't rely on anybody. Do it yourself. Listen, all we're saying is 2 people. If you really do not think, or you have somebody that's coming into this business and they cannot find or think they can find 2 people, they need to go and find something else. They really do. It's not that difficult. I don't know about you, but every person I speak to generally wants to make some money, or they're broke and they desperately need to make some money or receive some money. There are millions of people out there, and I'm sure everybody can find 2 people. That's it. That's all you need. So I hope that helps, NJ. That's what I would say. If those people are sitting there waiting to receive a donation, good luck to them. I would never sit around and wait for anything. Go and do it yourself. Don't rely on anybody. If you get a donation, fantastic. It's a bonus. Now, just let me explain. If you don't get a donation in your first cycle, you're going to get a donation or somebody drop down on your second cycle. It'll happen to everybody. But the problem is if you give up and move on to something else, the grass looks greener, you're never going to see it. Simple as that. Did you want a question, NJ? Nope.
Duncan?
Yeah, I've got a question, but I'm not sure if you can hear me, Mark.
Yes, we can. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. I don't like to overblow things. So, you know, if you make out things are too easy, then people get disappointed. When
no, listen, nothing's easy, NJ. I'm not saying it is. It's simple.
No, obviously, you gave your example. You got in, and then by the next morning, you'd already got your money back.
Yeah.
All I'm demonstrating is some people that isn't the case for everybody. So
no, I agree.
Everyone comes in with realistic expectations.
Yes, I know. Listen, it can happen to, as I said, 75% of people, but don't expect it. I didn't, but it was a nice surprise when it did. Now, as I was saying, if it doesn't happen in the first cycle, it will happen in the next cycle or the one after that. I had one guy, he was phoning me, and he's a good friend of mine, and he was phoning me up, and every 2 days he was saying, I haven't received anything yet. And I said, you will at some point, and I knew he would. And about a week later, he received 2 donations from not introducing anybody. So it will happen.
I believe in this. I believe in the system very much, because as long as people genuinely understand it is crowdfunding and it is a way of gifting money between the group, then there isn't any confusion. And as long as people are willing to introduce people on that basis and then see whether or not they do hit the first level, which is obviously 150 quid or $700, it's then give them enough confidence to then reinvest on the next level. So I don't have any problem with that. But, you know, some people don't find it that easy straight away. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
You know yourself as well. It's how people introduce people that affects the way they think, because if they are going around telling them, oh, just join this, pay this, and you're going to sit back and receive donations, you know, the trouble is you can't help what people say to people. I mean, it's like somebody phoned me up today and I was talking to them, and a lot of people introduce people into network marketing businesses or any online businesses. And to me, it's like if you were to go into a job tomorrow, a brand new job of doing something that you've never done before, you know yourself, no person in the right mind would let a brand new person go and start a job without training.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, people involve people and just leave them to go out, and they literally just fall flat on their face because they have not been told what to say, what not to say, what to do, or what not to do. And that's the biggest problem. So, you know, sponsoring people means take responsibility, and people need to take responsibility to make sure that the people they're introducing, first, before they even register, that they have the funds ready, because you're actually agreeing to donate within approximately 4 hours. And unfortunately, some people aren't. And what happens? They get suspended because their sponsor didn't tell them or ask them, are they ready to start? You know, it's no good registering somebody and then suddenly finding out that person hasn't even got the money to start yet. It's people, I'm afraid, but.
Yeah, I mean, it is straightforward. You've got your registration fee, then you're hustling off to 250 if you've watched the video properly. And I suppose the things that for someone new like myself is, like you're saying, making sure that when you have that initial conversation and you get them onto the video, and they may be just as dumb as I was, because I watched the video, maybe it took me 3 times to get the why people would do it than anything else. It took a while to go, okay, so that's why people do it. And now I've watched all the videos around it, I'm very comfortable with the the method and what we're trying to do.
NJ, we're all the same. I looked at that plan and didn't fully understand it until I actually saw it working. And the day the penny dropped was actually the day I introduced Colin Simmons, who I know is on the call. I don't know whether he can unmute himself, but I introduced Colin that day, and he does not mess around, and he actually got to work. In fact, he called me, he asked me if I would do a Zoom call with a couple of his guys, which I did. And literally that was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By 8 o'clock at night, Colin had cycled, which means he'd filled his matrix. Now, this is what basically happened, because Tony was asking about this. So he finished his matrix, and suddenly I saw this email come through that Colin Simmons was about to send another donation. This was in the same day. Now, that's when the penny dropped. Well, I actually phoned Colin because I thought he'd re-registered. And he said, no, I'm out. And I said, I've realized it's automatic. So you now have to send another donation, which he did. So from one person in one day, I received 2 times 125 donations from that one person in the same day, because he'd cycle and now donated again to start another cycle. Now, I actually spoke to Colin on the first day that we registered, and I asked him a question, and I asked him to be honest. I told him my financial situation at the time, and I said to him, can I ask you, Colin, how are you doing? Seriously. And he said, crap was the word. And I said to him that day, I'm going to help you change your financial situation. And the crazy thing is now I get so many donations from Colin, and the reason why he can send me those donations is because he's receiving more than he's sending. That's the whole point of the system. It literally funds you to donate even more. Absolutely amazing. Brilliant.
It's a virtuous circle when you get it going.
It's funny, but you have to trust the process.
Exactly. It's like anything. Yeah, you will understand it once you do it. It's like I was saying before, unfortunately, some people drop out before they've even seen it. They give up. But that's people, the saying, you've got to commit, and commitment is doing the things you said you'd do long after the mood you said it in has passed. And unfortunately, a lot of people join it to start receiving donations and give up.
There's another question.
Can you set your donations when you cycle to automatically pay via PayPal? No, you can't, Tom. When you say set your donations, you don't know who you're going to donate to each time, Tom. As an example, you probably always donate your sponsor, but there'll be times, every time will be a different person you drop under in each matrix. What's so good about this is everybody gets a share of donations from everybody else. As an example, I introduced Colin Simmons, and often drops underneath a brand new person I've just introduced that day. Colin just happens to drop underneath that person. What does he have to do? Donate to that new person and donate to me. So that new person just happened to be there because he carried on, didn't stop. So this is where I say people often give up before they're about to have success. That often happens in every type of business. It's like, I just want to state, when I was in a few months back in serious financial crisis, it was a crisis. And my wife actually said to me, those stories you see on television when people didn't give up and just carried on, and they really did think it was the end. And in actual fact, it was just round the corner was success. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. The day I found this, it literally changed everything round within one day. My wife said it was like a miracle happening. And I stress enough to people, take this seriously. This is the most amazing thing I have ever seen, and hopefully you will ever see. Any other questions anybody wants to ask before we round up for the night?
Hello. Hi, it's Bumba.
Sorry, say that again. Who's that? Sorry.
Hi, it's Bumba.
Hi.
Hi. My situation is not so much a question how the system works.
Yeah.
I am having a technical problem with my account.
What's the problem, Bumba?
I don't know if you recall, I logged into the meeting about a week ago plus, and I put in my bank details. And the following morning, when I tried to log in, I've got a page which is prompting me to make payment. And I cannot go back, I cannot cancel, I cannot navigate away. I've been emailing the support team over and over again, asking them how come I cannot reset. Why am I being asked to pay money?
But did you make a mistake and a level without realizing it?
I have no idea. That could be the case, but it's showing up as registration.
When you say registration, what? Who's your sponsor?
Sarah. She's helping me through this.
Right. All I can suggest is if you email me privately, I will look into what you're saying. But I think I'm wondering, let me give you an example. A friend of mine, Julie Templeton, was registering a friend of hers, wasn't particularly good on the internet. Now Julie made a mistake. She went and clicked the 250, the 500 and the 1,000 by mistake. Okay, but it does actually, you have to do it 3 times. You have to click twice or 3 times before you proceed. But she did do it. Now, it was a mistake. So she then realized that she wanted to cancel it. Now, let me just explain what happened. Everybody was trying to send this lady donations, and she kept sending them back because she was trying to cancel the 2 levels that she'd just accidentally ordered. Now, the crazy thing is, I had to step in and...
You get on the call.
Sorry, who's that, Lane?
Just one question.
Tony, just 1 second, because I'm just...
Do you remember there's a £29 fee? When do we pay that, do you know?
When you join, Tony.
Is that in your first donation?
No. Tony, the $29 is the only money that goes to the company, and that's once every 6 months. Yeah? Tony, did you get that? Hello? Lane, did you want to ask a question?
Oh, it hasn't gone out of my bank yet, you see.
Hi, Duncan.
Bank yet.
Okay. Well, you pay that before. That's the first thing you do, Tony. You can't do the next bit until you paid the 29. So it must have gone through.
Anyway, it's nearly finished anyway. So I'm gonna click off. Have you got a minute to talk?
Well, Tony, somebody else was just asking a question.
Yeah.
Hi, Duncan.
Hi, Bumba.
Hi, Duncan. Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish up. Just to say, so I did, looking at, yes, private messaging you would be the best thing to do because...
Bumba, what I'm trying to understand is what you've done. I think you've ordered a...
I definitely haven't done that. I know that I haven't done that.
So what's the message saying that you need to donate?
It just says to me, you log in, and it gives me a shot of my login details, including my password, and asks me how I want to pay, whether I want to pay by debit card, Visa card, or by Bitcoins. And then
tell me this, Bumba. Have you actually paid the $29 to the company?
Hi, Duncan. Can I come in and help, because I've been supporting Buba on this one.
Yeah, go on, Sarah.
Thank you so much for what you're trying to do. I think Buba has paid the $29. She's donated the 2 125s. So she's all set up properly.
So just tell me this before we go any further. The 2 people she's donated to, have they accepted that received it?
Yeah, that was done on the 13th of November. Yes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So all that has been completed. And actually, I looked into the issue when she first approached me. And that's why I say to her, now you need to continue propping the office to just sort it out for you, because it looks like there's nothing you can do from our end. But I also looked at my back office and I noticed there was some message there saying pending, and her name was there. So, Buba, remember I sent you that screenshot. What Duncan is trying to say, I think that is the issue. And I think that's what the office needs to sort out.
Okay. Well, if you message me privately, I'll get it sorted out tomorrow.
Okay.
In fact,
sorry, Duncan, if I can come in.
Hi, Max.
Hi, it's Max. Yes. She sent me the details. I think because when you go look on the site, it wants to pay her to pay the $29. Unless she has registered with 2 different email addresses, probably I'll suggest to Sarah to check if she has got another email address registered.
Can I say something? It's Bumba now. I have a business. I run a business, and I have 4 different email accounts attached to my phone. Unfortunately, one time when I needed to get hold of the support team, I picked up Contact Us from the email from Google. So Google, crowdfunding support team, contact us. And you send them an email. And when you do that, the phone doesn't show you which email that whatever you're sending them out to is being generated from. So they've definitely received an email from me asking for support from one of my business accounts.
Right. I think, to be honest, Bumba, I think that's probably what the issue is. Unfortunately, a lot of the issues, when there's not that many, are caused by a couple of things. People registering with one email and then trying to change it. I don't know why people would do that. And the other thing is creating a password and then change that. Once you've registered with an email, you've got to keep that email. It really system if they try and change it. But we'll sort it out. If you can message me in private, and I'll get onto it tomorrow.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah.
Duncan, could I just come in and say one thing on this? Yeah. Any kind of problems that relates, it all starts from yourself. If you when you're registering, you should pay attention to details, your email, your phone number, because when you put an import, that's when your error starts from. If you put your input correct from day one, like everyone in my team at the moment has no problems because we pay attention to details. So, when you are registering someone, pay attention to details, your name, your email, your phone number, and then have an intention that not to change your email.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not in your account's not in like a honeymoon date. Like you can change around it. Stay focused, stay consistent on your details, and then you won't have any problems. And
you're right.
If there's any error from the company, then we all would have had a problem by now.
Yeah.
So I believe when a person is putting the details, they need to actually pay attention to the detail when they put in the details. And
you're right.
One more thing. Also, I realized one more thing. When people are putting the bank details, they're missing out names.
Yes.
Like the card. If the card name says Mr. M. Kawaji, they put the passport name and the card name is different. Sometimes the card don't recognize it. Yeah. So these are little things, mechanism things we need to pay attention on card details, on your name details, your email. When you put these correct, and also give some time to receiver to confirm the payment. He may be driving, he may be walking, he may be, desert. You never know. But yeah.
Thank you.
Also send a screenshot of your payment.
Yes, totally agree.
Yes. Try to learn how to manage a manageable person and coordinate your team to how to manage things. And when you're doing something, make sure your person that's sitting next to you, you make them do it. It's called show me, tell me.
Hi, Bernard. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Bernard, did you want a question?
Yes, thank you. It's yeah. Yes. When you upgrade to 500,
yes,
does the system automatically allocate somebody for you?
When you say automatically allocate somebody to you, what do you mean, Bernard?
No, the thing, okay. When you are at 125, you donate to your upline.
Yes.
And their upline.
Yes.
And when you upgrade to 500,
well, Bernard,
do you still do?
You will drop underneath somebody else, but you will probably end up donating to your upline. Yes. But again, always you will drop underneath a new person. I don't know who that will be, and nor will your sponsor know, because that's automatic. So yes, when you donate again, when you upgrade, let's say to the 500, you will probably almost 100% donate to your sponsor.
Yep.
You will donate to somebody else that you've dropped under automatically.
Okay. The second thing is when I joined, somebody assisted me to join. Unfortunately, they wrote my email address wrongly.
Yeah,
and
exactly
I edited it.
Was talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I edited it, but it still wants me to use that email address to log in. So I'm just wondering if the emails are coming in, because I edited it, would they come directly to what I've edited, or they would want to go to the email that was written wrongly?
Good question, Bernard. I don't know. This is why Mohammed was saying you need to be particular attention to detail, because mistakes are often caused by people causing their own problems, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're right. You need to get organized. It's like anything. It's like any business. You know, people are rushing in and not being organized, and they often cause their own problems.
Duncan,
and then blame it.
I think if you sign up, don't think too much on the money, but
yes,
think on what you are doing.
You're right. You're right.
No, okay. I'm with you. It's not that I'm a very, what would I say? I'm very articulate. I know what I want to do. When I go into the system, I would look. I become very attentive. It's unfortunate that my surname, people, when you give it to them, they write it differently. So that's the mistake that they made.
What I'd recommend, but it's like, as an example, somebody sent me a donation. They used my
time for bed. Oh,
Pauline, everybody. Sorry.
Did you hear it, Duncan? Time for bed.
Time for bed, I know.
Yeah, you were saying, Duncan?
Yeah, I was saying somebody sent me a donation and used another email address. So they obviously had not gone into the payment references that I put in my back office. They just assumed and sent it to a different email address. And then I'm sitting here waiting for the donation because it hadn't arrived. I emailed them. They said they'd sent it. And what had happened, they'd sent it to a different email address. Now, that is their fault because they didn't go in, because I checked and my correct email address was there, but he had assumed it was a different email address. Okay. Mohammed, can you just mute yourself? Do you mind?
Who's that?
Duncan, what I did...
Let me just mute everybody. 1 second.
What I did...
Just hold on 1 second. Let me just mute everybody, because people are speaking with noise in the background. Thank you. Okay, Robert, did you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, what I did was in the section where you put in your details, your bank details, or your Bitcoin wallet address, I put there in a text, if you do a payment, send me a screenshot with my email address.
Yeah, that's what I do with everybody, Robert. As soon as I've done the transaction, I email them with a copy of the transaction. Then there's no problem. There's no community. You know, it's communication.
No,
yep, absolutely. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you very, very much, everybody. I'm going to finish now. Thank you for your time, and I don't think there's any more questions anybody's put. No. So we do have another call tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do that call, but Colin has very kindly stepped in. So Colin Simmons, he does a fantastic webinar. If you're on the 11 o'clock in the morning webinars, he does those, but he is doing the one for me tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So thanks everybody, and I think Colin, I'm not sure whether he's on the call, but he does one at 11 o'clock tomorrow, and he'll be doing the 8 o'clock one tomorrow. And there is one tomorrow night also at 11 o'clock done by Ray. So thanks very much everybody, and have a good night.
Thank you, Duncan.
You're welcome, Bernard.
Thanks, Duncan.
Good night.
Thanks so much.
Duncan.
Thank you, and